I've been listening to so many arguments about this over the course of the last 48 hours because we now seem to have found ourselves in a place where nobody now can criticise anyone who is in receipt of benefits. Whether they're autistic, whether they suffer from acne, whether they suffer from some kind of, agoraphobia, they don't like going out, they can't work because they're frightened of actually meeting people, who knows, whatever it is, they've made it so easy for people to get benefits as a result of them complaining that they can't work, that there's no way out of it. Absolutely extraordinary. Let's talk to Joanna Bell, political commentator, about it. Joanna, very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike. How are you today?
I'm very well indeed, but a lot of people very angry this morning, not least because as a result of the uselessness of this Prime Minister, who has now lost all of his authority and is now incapable of basically making anything happen, what it really means is that we're stuck now with a welfare situation where millions and millions of people are on these PIP allowances and PIP benefits, and nobody's ever going to be able to take the money off them.
Well, that's the thing, Mike, and it's just like the winter fuel allowance. Keir Starmer has done a huge turn. He's put a bill through which it really doesn't have makes any difference. He can't even save 5% of a 100 billion welfare bill. He can't smash the gangs. What is he actually going to do now? This is a huge embarrassment for him. And yet he has no power. At this point, now I did have hope. I thought there was method in his madness. He was doing this tax. I thought, right now we're going to, see the benefits of what he's doing. But there is no benefits. The only people that Keir Starmer has benefited so far in his 1 year is public servants. He's given them huge pay rises, and the illegal immigrants. He's putting them up in hotels instead of putting them in, military camps. We're footing the bill for luxury hotels for immigrants, and yet, he's trying to take, you can't even make up how desperate this government is. And, come autumn, when it comes to the budget, it's going to hit the taxpayer hard. Yeah.
Well, the problem is that the tax base is getting smaller and smaller as more and more people leave the country. So the fewer and fewer of us are having to pay for not only the illegal migrants, but also the whole benefits culture as well in this country. Let's have a look at what Esther McVey had to say yesterday. She was in the House of Commons talking about people with disabilities.
Has the government taken legal advice as to whether it is lawful to treat people with the same conditions, disabilities and circumstances differently within the benefit system? It is morally unacceptable, but does the minister believe it is lawful?
I would gently just remind the Honourable Lady that her own party had different rules and different rates for people on existing compared to new benefits in future. That's something they did. Once again, members opposite seem to be railing at the very problems that they caused.
Esther McVey's on the show later on. Liz Kendall just comes out of this looking really, really bad, doesn't she?
Well, that's the thing, it's just the whole of the Labour Party is just run by social activists, Mike. And this is what happens. You don't have anybody with any business experience. You've got people who only care about, immigrants. You have people who only care about welfare. And you don't have anybody who cares about the growth of this country. This country is no growth. They're not stimulating any of the economy. They've given away the Chagos Islands and then they've rented them back. They're giving millions to the French government to stop the small boats coming over. And the French are laughing at us. Yeah. They're buying huge quad bikes and huge vehicles to stop these people. But they're not stopping them at all. They're laughing at us.
They are.
And more than ever, we are the laughing stock of Europe and the world, seemingly.
And just to make that point, Emmanuel Macron, I think, is arriving pretty soon for a state visit. And so Keir Starmer will be able to, mince around with his arms around him, saying how great it is that we've got this lovely, wonderful relationship with the French, who are basically screwing us at every opportunity. Sacre bleu.
Every opportunity, and everybody thought, that Brexit would stop these boats coming in. In fact, it's never been worse. So how do you stop these mostly young men coming over? They're encouraging them. I mean, it's almost like a tourist advert to come to Britain. Come over here, you'll get your hotel paid for you'll get, you know, your driving license paid for. And, you know, a lot of these immigrants are actually working, which we discovered. They're working for Deliveroo. So the taxpayers funding their hotels and their lifestyle, and they're making money on the side through, you know, working under the table. It's actually...
And the only idiots in this whole kind of arena are those of us who pay taxes, who can't get away from paying taxes because we try to do the right thing. But it's no wonder that so many people are now taking up picking up sticks and just leaving the country. I speak to, I don't know about you, Joe, but I speak to so many people every week now who are heading off to Dubai. They're getting out and going to Australia. They're going to Italy. They're going to America. They're getting basically anywhere but here.
Well, that's the thing, Mike, and Dubai is a very attractive place to live for a lot of people. You know, they've no income tax, no begging, no crime, pretty much zero crime. I mean, you know,
don't get your watch nicked every time you walk down the road, or your phone.
Well, exactly, and yeah, there is a freedom of speech issue, but I mean, it's the same in this country. You can't even put a tweet up without being thrown in jail.
Every time you turn around, there's somebody else who's had their collar felt by the police because of something they put on Twitter.
And that's the thing. And then you have this kneecap band who have been given, you know, thousands, or some say even 1 million by the Labour government. And they're allowed to, you know, scream death to the IDF at Glastonbury. And there's no criminal charges, and that's Lucy Connolly is still languishing in jail for a tweet she deleted.
Yeah.
It's just, people are just so disenchanted with this country. They're driving out the high tax paying millionaires. They've driven them out, you know. They've done so much damage to this country in just a year. And yesterday he's celebrating his year. What has he actually done that's good for this country?
Well, I mean, I've got something for you as a special treat. Reformer put this ad out, which is 1 year of Labour U-turns. Check it out.
12 months of Keir Starmer just around the corner. It's time for a party.
Good morning.
It's here and bigger than ever.
You're as cold as ice.
Who could forget this?
We don't need your money, money, money.
What an absolute classic.
Another one bites the dust.
This was unforgettable.
I want to break free.
To celebrate 12 months of Sir Keir Starmer. Now that's what I call U-turns.
Yeah, one for Christmas, I suppose, if he lasts that long. I'm not sure he's going to last that long, you know. I mean, he really has got the skids under him, hasn't he?
I mean, you say that, but how many prime ministers... I mean, look, I do want Keir Starmer gone, but how many prime ministers are we footing the bill for their security? We've had so many. It's, you know, we can't keep changing prime minister. But on this occasion, I think you're right, Mike. I think we really need someone who solves problems and not someone who just papers over the cracks. And that's what Keir is doing. He's got a cabinet full of social activists. No one who's ever had any business experience, never run a business. They've destroyed the fabric of our whole society by, they're destroying small farms. And it's just, where does it end? The country's going to be bankrupt if these people don't get out of power. So how do you get rid of these people?
I don't know. I think they get rid of them themselves. I think Starmer will be gone very soon. I think Angela Rayner is going to be positioning herself to be the next Prime Minister. And I think then things really start taking a turn for the worse. And I think the government then has to have somebody step in and actually prevent them from damaging the fiscal state of this country anymore, because they've literally run out of money. They've only been in a year and they've got no money. They can't tax us anymore. They can't squeeze us anymore. There's nothing they can do.
Well, you know, what they can do is, you know, put the immigrants, they could save billions of pounds by just putting the illegal immigrants in military camps. But they're so scared of them rioting. So what do you do? How do you...
I know, it's absolutely shocking. And the news that Channel migrants since Keir Starmer became Prime Minister, 43,224. It's a big number, a massive big number. Let's just talk before I let you go about Tim Davie. A lot of people on the front pages this morning saying Tim Davie's not long for this world. He's another one who's hanging on by a thread after what happened at Glastonbury at the weekend. Well, he should be gone, shouldn't he?
He should be. He made that decision to air, you know, those awful chants. And, you know, I actually was going to go to Glastonbury on the last day, but because of what happened, I said, no way am I going up there. Tim Davie needs to stand down with immediate effect. There's no way his position is tenable now, you know, and we are the taxpayer, you know, paying for this. Why is that allowed on a tax-funded, you know, on our... broadcaster. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
He needs to stand down. But will he? Do you think he will? I think he will.
I think in the next couple of days we're going to see an announcement coming out of the BBC, because I think they're going to say to him, look, you know, I'm afraid after everything, it's not as if this is the first thing he's had a problem with. You know, he's had Gary Lineker, he's had Hugh Edwards, he's gone through the whole business of the bias that BBC News is accused of every single day about Israel. I don't think he can survive it. I think in the end, I think he'll be gone by the end of the week. We shall see.
Yeah.
Joe, good to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed. Joanna Bell, their political commentator.